Remember we were just saying the other day, boy, this is a confusing time. And I think when talking about information, there's no more confusing time than when at your country, people are at risk, there's airstrikes happening, you don't know what the truth is. They call it the fog of war. I call it, reading through the BS. You don't know what to believe. But there's one thing we all have to do, I think, in this situation, because now it's MAGA versus MAGA. You're not conservative. What are you talking about? We don't know. What side are you on? And all this other crap. We have to figure out and take a step back what we means. What do you mean we? Are we striking Iran or are we supporting Israel? Let's define what we is so we can figure this out. That's what needs to happen. So let's take a pause, rewind a little bit, and start to figure out what the heck is going on. And what led to this was something really good for us that happened yesterday. And the full interview apparently is being released today. It was Ted Cruz on Tucker Carlson. Didn't go well for Ted, but it went really well for us. And, well, Tucker too, because the thing is getting already massive hits already. But it kind of forced Ted, thereby, kind of like a de facto reason, forced the administration to define exactly what the we is in this whole thing so we can figure it out. Pretty good there. We'll talk about that as well. And there's another thing. We have another play-acting politician. Oh, yeah. Apparently the new thing, the new scheme to get your name out there if you're running for office or you just want to boost up your credibility and you're a political hack is you interrupt ICE officials and you go there and you try to get yourself arrested and you do get yourself arrested and you get your name throughout the media and the press. We got another one. Remember Alex Padilla? Well, we got a guy this time running for the mayor's office in New York. He got himself arrested. Now everybody knows his name. So mission accomplished. And you know one thing, this won't be the last time that happens. We also have this, and I have to talk about it just because I absolutely love an awesome marketing scheme when that happens. I love when somebody takes advantage of a current situation and is able to actually turn that into a marketing opportunity for themselves and everybody else. Ozzy, who's not in very good health, we know that much. He may live forever now because of his DNA. And and I love it. All right, let's get to it. Thanks for finding the Wicked Radio live stream. Some technical problems to start things off today, but we are off and running. It's Wicked Wednesday. We have all kinds of things to talk about, obviously, as I just said, but we're going to get into it and lighten it up at the end as well. But thanks for finding the live stream a little bit later on. If you are watching this on the replay, make sure that you like and follow and all that good stuff and put your notifications on as well, so we can figure out what's going on in this crazy world of ours. And also, thank you so much for the downloads on the audio podcast. Appreciate that. That's posted usually a few minutes after we get done with the live stream. All right, let's get into it. Where the heck are we when it comes to Iran and Israel? I missed this the other day, and it's important. I missed what President Trump had said on Air Force One. And of all people who got the good question and the good answer out of him, it was Caitlin Collins from CNN. But Trump said this the other night, and I think this sets up the entire situation and trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this conflict in the Middle East. Because I'm here to tell you, if you think I'm some sort of a mouthpiece or a hack for this administration, I'll be the first to criticize them. They've done an awful job on the messaging. In times of conflict, war, nothing could be more confusing, and there's only so much they can say for sure, but they should have cleared up, first and foremost, what our involvement is, what the we is in this entire conflict. Let's set this up from something that happened 2 days ago on Air Force One. And this was that little impromptu interview he did when he was leaving the G7. Catch what Trump says here. And this is the point he should have hammered home the entire time.
Do you think if the U.S. got involved militarily, it would actually wipe out Iran's nuclear program? Or where's your assessment of that?
Well, I hope their program is going to be wiped out wrong before then. But they're not going to have a nuclear weapon.
I hope it doesn't come to that, because they're not going to have a nuclear weapon, okay? So there's the message there. And that's also the thing, if you go poll after poll, if you want to believe the polls, I understand that. I get how you feel about that. This is what everybody is in favor for. Nobody with an ounce of common sense wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon, right? Agreed. Let's take a step back and rewind exactly what we're talking about here. Nobody wants that. For the most part, most people support our support militarily of Israel to get that job done. For the most part. Our involvement in this, in other words, to define that would be direct airstrikes from us, like us getting the job done. sinks down to almost nothing, and that's where the fight happens. And that's why you see everything breaking down now on social media and in your social group and all these fights within families. That's not mega. America first means no more wars, no more this, no more that. And this important thing, almost nobody who was in favor of the Trump administration wants another regime change war. Now, if the Ayatollahs of Iran get wiped out, of course there's going to be some kind of regime change. But this is the thing that's always gotten us into trouble for these so-called forever wars. Anything we've ever gotten involved with where we try to dictate it. Nobody is in favor of that anymore. And true, to hold him accountable, Trump ran on that. No more regime change wars. Let somebody else handle that. That's not our job. So, let's rewind it one more time. What's the we involved in this whole thing? We didn't get a clear answer. But I give Tucker Carlson credit for trying to get an answer out of Ted Cruz. So I think this full interview is being released today. It's already got millions of hits, whatever it is. Good for Tucker. Good for him. Good for us, because it's forcing us to ask the question. And this is how we get answers as a society and as a culture. You got to start to force these people to give you answers. But not so good for Ted Cruz. So the part that is getting all the attention, because it's uncomfortable to watch. And when something's uncomfortable in an interview, it's great. It's like gold. It's like you couldn't buy that because you can't keep your eyes off it. It's like watching a failing comedian on stage or a car or a train wreck. You're like, oh God, that's terrible, but I can't keep my eyes off it. So it starts to go off the rails when Tucker asks Ted Cruz, how many people, what's the population of Iran? Ted didn't know. Tucker did, 92 million. And that set things off and set it off the rails, and it starts to go downhill from there. So it works Ted Cruz up. But here's where it's good for us. This is where we start to get some answers. So this is long, but you got to listen to the entire thing and ask the question what we all have to ask. What's the we? What's our involvement? All we want as people is an answer to this.
You don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
Who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here, because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Hey.
Yeah, people are listening. People are listening, all right. And here's the thing. Did we get clarification on who the we is? Not yet. But that's key. Not yet. Here's what it's doing. We all want an answer for this. We've had a week, 2 weeks of confusion, and we all want to know one basic question, no matter how you feel. No matter what you are, and this isn't a Democrat-Republican thing, this isn't pro-Trump, anti-Trump, this is not blue-red. Everybody right now in our country wants to know what's our involvement from here. So, after something like that, as tough as that went for Ted Cruz, I understand, and I like Ted Cruz, as tough as that went for him, the end result of this is millions of us are now asking that question, which will get us an answer. When enough people demand an answer now, this is the information age, when enough people demand this, they're aware of it, they look at the polling, they understand this, they read the tea leaves, and quite frankly, nobody's better than reading the pulse of the nation than Trump. They will get an answer on what our involvement here in this is, and they absolutely know how Americans feel about it. And it breaks down to this again, time after time after time. Talk to anybody you know. Nobody wants Iran to have nukes, for sure, and they keep spitting on us. People, for the most part, kind of sort of support Israel's fight in that. When it comes to us getting the job done, very few people are in support of that. But supporting Israel, fine. Here's the problem. We want clarity and we want definition. Will we get it? Yeah, eventually, hopefully. Now, to try to figure this out, we got to go to Truth Social because Trump is kind of like siloed. And by the way, for people mad at Trump for like hiding away on this, he's not saying much. In fact, they did a little bit of a press embargo just yesterday from the White House because these are times of conflict. That part of it's completely understandable. So he's mostly communicating through Truth Social. This from 19 hours ago, a couple of them last night. We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran. There's that we again. What do you mean? This is where he needs to clarify this. We have it, or Iran has it with our support. All we're looking for is an answer. Iran had a good sky trackers and other defensive equipment, plenty of it, but it doesn't compete. American-made, conceived, and manufactured stuff. See, this is not a time for him to be coy and funny. Nobody does it better than the good old USA. Sounds like the we is in charge of this thing now, doesn't it? Like we're calling the shots. And then followed up immediately after that, we know exactly where a so-called supreme leader is hiding. He's an easy target, but is safe there. We're not going to take him out. In parentheses, kill, at least not for now. This is a lot of we happening here. This is a lot of we. And he better define this. And if we are leading this thing, and if it's us going to be taking out them and regime change and all this other stuff, all you, me, and everybody else in this country, all we want is clarity. And they better clarify this pretty soon. Like now, like today. And by the time you're watching this, maybe on a replay later on, or listening later on when the live stream, when the audio podcast is posted, maybe we have our answer. I don't know. But as of right now, this has gone way too far without us knowing what the we part of this whole thing is. We got to figure this out. So let's hope so anyway. But again, that pressure comes with the takeaway. We get answers when everybody becomes aware of it first, reframes this thing, and then starts to demand some answers. That's when we'll get it. All right. We got more play-acting politicians. Let me ask you a question. Did anybody know who Alex Padilla was before last week? He got arrested at the ICE facility, impeding efforts to, deport illegal aliens. Did anybody know who Alex Padilla was, the California senator? If he's your senator, you probably knew. I had seen his name in headlines, this and that, and he's on some big committees. But did anybody know? No. Now he's national news. Well, we got another one, but this one is out of New York City. This guy is New York City's controller, and he's running for mayor. Brad Lander. He got himself arrested at an ICE facility yesterday, apparently trying to prevent ICE officials from detaining and then deporting, and he was trying to walk out with an illegal immigrant that's in his district, whatever it was. You know why he did it. This is all for attention. Again, he's a mayoral candidate, Brad Lander, not just the controller. Here was the scene when he got arrested and they took him down the elevator.
Where are you taking him? Hello? Hi,
Since you have no authority to arrest U.S. citizens, where are you taking me? And with what authority?
Why are you arresting the city controller and where are you taking him? No!
And there he goes. What do you mean with what authority? You're interfering with federal officials and the job that they have to do. He knows that. You know that. I know that. Whoever the illegal immigrant was knows that. This is all for attention because it works. So now we have two. We had Alex Padilla last week. We got Brad Lander in New York City this week. Do you think it's going to stop here? No, because it made front page news, certainly in the city of New York, but now national news as well. This is the best publicity money could buy for these crooked politicians who do this kind of stuff, and they don't care. Is Alex Padilla in a jail cell now for doing this last week? Would you or I be in a jail cell if we tried to do that? Yes, we would, and nobody would know about it. Is Alex Padilla free? Yes, he is. Is Brad Lander free this morning? Yes, he is. In fact, last night did a local interview and did some national MSNBC interviews. It works for them. That's why this isn't going to stop until somebody is made an example of. Will it happen? Don't know. But let's see. I wonder if that's going to, obviously he's a Democrat running on that side. I wonder if that's going to affect his poll rating. If his party really supports and his constituents really support that kind of action, and they may. This may be a huge success for him. So way to go, New York. Here's what you got. On the Democratic side, running for mayor, you've got Brad Lander, the guy that got arrested at an ICE facility and got tossed out and put in handcuffs temporarily. And you also have the guy that's actually leading on his side. He's an immigrant that's been in the country for 7 years. He's a devout Marxist. He loves that, and he's really never held a job. He's leading. Way to go, New York. You're doing a great job. Way to clean things up. Nice job. Wonder who the next one's going to be. Because these things, you know what they always say, these things come in threes? Oh, this will be a lot more. Somebody will take it to the extreme. Like some politician who needs to run for something or fundraise will look at these two and say, how can I kick that up a notch? Let's see, these guys got arrested, detained temporarily. What can I do? You know what they're doing. And the media runs right to them, puts a camera in their face, and they benefit from it. All right, here's another thing. So we had a little bit of piece of news here, and you wish her the best. It looks like it's going to be okay. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem had a hospital visit yesterday, and there wasn't a lot of information, for privacy rights. Apparently, she had an allergic reaction to something. She's doing fine now, reportedly, and she's okay, whatever it was. This story has turned into a little bit something else because of an online outlet that's actually based out of the UK, the Daily Mail. I've referenced them a couple of times because their headlines are just so ridiculous. Now, the reason why they did this is because, once again, for attention, because we wouldn't be talking about the story probably if they hadn't written this headline. Daily Mail US. What's their headline? What's their write-up to Kristi Noem's emergency room visit? And again, I think she's going to be okay. Here's the headline. Ice Barbie. Kristi Noem rushed to the hospital. Now, you can imagine the backlash. There's thousands and thousands of comments under that, kind of admonishing the Daily Mail for that. Let me ask you, do you think they care? No. Because even if most people didn't read through the entire story, I didn't either, actually, to be honest with you, they got all the attention and all the clicks and all the online stuff they wanted. So it's just like with the play-acting politicians. Do you think it stops there? Do you think they look at this and they go, wow, that was kind of irresponsible for us to write that headline. Maybe we shouldn't do that? No, because they got everything they wanted out of it. So I hope, first of all, Kristi Noem's going to be okay, because I wouldn't wish a hospital visit on anybody, really, not even play-acting politicians. But I also hope she speaks out against this. Not to give the Daily Mail more attention, but I hope she actually, you can't really sue, can you, for them calling her a name? But I hope she reaches out and she kind of has some sort of a backlash against them for doing that. I hope so. Because if you have the means to do so in a national, I guess in this case a worldwide platform like Kristi Noem does, you have the ability to fight back. And that's the takeaway. If somebody slanders you or insults you in any possible way, you can always fight back in some kind of way. You don't have to take it. I'm not talking about violence, but you should hold them accountable and shove it right back in their face. So I hope she does. You know who did yesterday in a very crafty kind of way? And I guess this is kind of related to it because it's another media story. Elon did. Now, you remember, and I actually joked about this as well because it was in the headlines everywhere based on absolutely nothing. Remember at the tail end of the Trump-Elon fight, and that was another thing where everybody's all broken in half and you're not MAGA, and all that other crap, which turned out to be totally fine, just like I said it would, and everything smoothed over. You remember some of the headlines from the New York Times and others accusing Elon of being on ketamine, the drug, and other drugs, by the way, they insinuated. Remember that? Based on absolutely nothing. And they got away with just throwing that out there and saying it. Now, here's a case where I think Elon actually could sue them. And this may be the first step. But at the very least, he took that, reframed it, and he shoved it right back in their faces with one post on X. And he has the biggest X account in the world just yesterday. He had his blood work done. And specifically, I'm sure he had like an overall blood test for everything. But I think he asked him, hey, can you also check me for a whole field test of all kinds of drugs? And he posted it yesterday on X. Now, what did they and it's interesting, too, because he even has the lab information and the donor ID number. And it reports to Fastest Labs of South Austin. This sounds like you or me or everybody else, like just getting lab work done. He posts the entire report, including the donor number, the ID number, all this stuff, to prove that it's legit and it's real. And he posts the entire field work for all the drugs they tested him on. I'll jump right to the chase and I'll tell you that the results on every one of these is negative. So Elon said, test me for all these things. I won't read them all either because it's long. Amphetamines, ecstasy, barbiturates, ketamine, cocaine, opiates, PCP, oxy, fentanyl, a validity pH, don't know what that is, zolpidem, don't know what that is, but there's probably 3 dozen drugs he was tested for, every single one of them negative, and he posted it. People commented, and Elon said, I challenge the people who work at the New York Times to post their drug tests as well, but they won't because they're complete and total hypocrites. Now, let me ask you something. Does it sound like he's gonna let it drop here? Probably not. So if he's got the proof here, and he's got the means to be able to do it, what do you think? What do you think the chances are of a slander lawsuit coming from Elon Musk against the New York Times would be? You think it'll happen? Or is this enough? Or is this enough right here to shove it right back in their faces when they came out with a completely baseless allegation against him of him being a drug addict? He does a drug test and he says, here, look at that. Why don't you publish that, you crooks, you creeps, you absolute hypocrites? I love that. And there's a takeaway for all of us. Very few of us have the means to do something like that. We don't have a national platform like Kristi Noem, or certainly not Elon Musk. But there's always a way you can fight back. Not with violence, but you shove it right back in their face when you know the allegation is baseless. I absolutely love that he did that. I love it. Personally, yeah, I'm petty enough. I would love to see him take this a step further. I really would. I love that. Here's something else I love, a great marketing campaign. So we all know, now if you're a rock fan, you know that Ozzy has a big, not just Ozzy, Black Sabbath, and a whole bunch of other different bands. They have one final performance coming up in Birmingham, England, where that band started years ago. And it's coming up this summer, actually a few weeks from right now. And Ozzy's not doing too good these days. You know, he's got like Parkinson's and he's all back problems, and I don't think he's going to be able to sing more than 2 songs. But the world of rock loves Ozzy, and they want him around forever. Well, he, along with the Liquid Death Company, it's a drink. I thought it was just water. I guess they have iced tea too. I don't know, whatever it is. They jumped on this opportunity to create a great marketing campaign, which I love. I'm such a great fan of creative marketing. So the fear is, after all of this stuff, that Ozzy is not going to be around too much longer. Or is he? Because they just released this marketing campaign where you can get a hold and get a piece of Ozzy's DNA in these Liquid Death iced tea cans. Ew, I know, but it's great.
Introducing infinitely recyclable Ozzy by Liquid Death. These cans have been drunk by Ozzy himself. And each can contains trace DNA from Ozzy's saliva, as well as his handwritten signature. Once technology and federal law permits, you can replicate Ozzy and enjoy him for hundreds of years into the future.
10 cans, apparently, that Ozzy drank out of and crushed. Each of them available for $450. They sold out immediately, and they'll go for auction, I'm sure, again in 5, 10, 15 years, whatever it is. But what a great marketing campaign. I absolutely love that. I love when people take advantage of situations like that. Maybe you'll buy one in the future. I don't know. Ozzy's DNA. Love that guy. All right. What's the takeaway? If anybody says something completely baseless against you, be like Elon and shove it right back in their face when it's proven not to be true. That's the first takeaway. But the second one, the really important one is, okay, it's time, all of us. And this is what actually does enact change these days. We've got the information. It's not like even 5 years ago. We have the information. It's time for us to demand what the we is when it comes to Iran and Israel. And like I said, maybe by the time you're listening to this in the audio podcast later or a replay on X or any of the social media platforms, maybe we have our answer already, yes or no, involved or not. I don't know. But it's gone far too long with us not knowing a clear, definitive answer what our involvement is. So insist on that. Thanks for finding me. Have a wicked awesome Wednesday. I appreciate you so much. Make sure you follow and share and all that good stuff. Thanks for the downloads and the audio podcast as well. And it's usually posted just about 10 minutes after we get off the live stream. And on the replays as well, make sure you put notifications on X and all the other social media platforms too. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it as always. Demand answers. Always. We'll see what's going on. Have a wicked awesome Wednesday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.